Alright, this is a bit of a weird one. A tulpa is like that imaginary friend you had when you were a kid, except it became real. And now, before I get into whether these are actually a real experience that people have, or whether it's just like in your mind and not really real, the definition of a tulpa is like an imaginary friend that you sort of will into existence. So say if you were to like think about something happening all day long, every day for a month, the idea with the tulpa is that if you did that, you would actually start to believe and actually see the imaginary friend or the imaginary thing, and it would start to have its own thought patterns and its own free will. So let me backtrack a bit. When I first came across the idea of a tulpa, I thought it was insane. I didn't really know what to think about it. It was a very strange concept to me that you could actually... I thought it was just a horror film, like a short story or a fiction novel or something. But there are stories and reports of people who intend to create an imaginary friend in their mind called a tulpa. And they believe it so strongly that eventually, after a month, 2 months, 6 months, even a year of really believing that this imaginary friend or thing exists in your mind, they start to actually see or hear the tulpa interact with them in a way that they didn't expect it to. It's like it's its own entity, its own free will. It has its own thoughts and can make its own decisions, to the point where it's like you're interacting with a different person. Even though it's actually in your mind technically and it's an imaginary friend, it's a very strange concept to grasp. There's actually an entire subreddit about tulpas, and there are loads of stories on there about people who have really believed that they've imagined this thing, this entity or this person into their lives, and it sort of helps them, it guides them in a way. It can give them advice, or it can help them make better decisions, and give them someone to talk to or someone to share ideas with. And it's a very interesting idea. I had no idea that this sort of thing existed, or that people were doing this sort of thing. We all have those sort of imaginary friends when we're kids. You start imagining that we're interacting with like film characters, or characters from books, or whatever it is, as we're playing as kids. The idea of having a tulpa or an imaginary friend that's like literally a figment of your imagination, but one that has its own free will and can decide on its own things and decide how to talk to you, that's a very interesting concept. And I have to say, I've personally never experienced this. I've never tried this. I just thought it was a really interesting thing that I wanted to share with you guys, because there's loads of stories online about this, these tulpas and this sort of thing. And it's just kind of, in my opinion, it's a little bit creepy. It's a bit of a weird thing to do, especially as an adult who hopefully has developed its own sort of skepticism and criticism about certain things. It's weird that people would see something like this and want to get involved with it and want to try and experience it. The reason I'm talking about this is because it's very similar to dream characters. I don't know, guys, this is why I first became interested in the idea of tulpas, and I wanted to make this video and just talk about a bit more about them, is because they're so similar to lucid dream characters. In a lucid dream, when you have what's known as a lucid guide, a lucid dreaming guide, they are a character who is definitely a part of your imagination and of your dream. They are part of your brain, but it feels like they're part of your subconscious brain, and they're guiding you to do certain things. And so what I really want to know, and maybe you guys can leave a comment about this, if you know more than I do, I really want to know if a tulpa can be a part of your subconscious mind that you're practicing and learning how to interact with in waking life. This is what really fascinates me about this whole topic, guys. So in a lucid dream, you can interact with your subconscious mind through a dream character known as a lucid dreaming guide. That enables you to directly talk to your subconscious, and the character sort of guides you through your own mind and helps you access areas of your mind that you wouldn't otherwise have been able to access in a lucid dream. Now, I've experienced that firsthand, and that is incredible. But the idea of doing it in waking life, when you're not dreaming, with a tulpa, is something that really interests me. And I might go ahead and try this in waking life. I don't know, I probably won't, but I really want to hear your experiences with this. And this is sort of like I'm sort of like reaching out to you guys, because I really hope that one or two of you have a few stories about this that you could share. Or maybe I'll read the top 3 or 4 comments in my next video. But yeah, the idea of if you can create a tulpa, as in an imaginary entity in your mind, interact with it in a way that it can guide you through your own subconscious mind while you're still awake, that will be huge. Because not only can you interact with your subconscious and sort of work your way through your own mind and ask it questions directly while you're awake, But because you're awake, it's that much more vivid and you're that much more likely to remember the stuff. There have been so many profound lucid dreams I've had where I've woken up and I've forgotten key details. You know, my subconscious lucid dreaming guide might have told me something really important, but then as soon as I wake up, it starts to fade. You know the feeling when you wake up, you've just had an amazing lucid dream, or even just a normal dream. It starts to fade. You know, you start thinking about what you want for breakfast, you start thinking about your to-do list, what you've got to do that day, that week. You look at your phone, you check your emails, and before you know it, the whole dream is gone, or at least the very important parts of it are just fading away into just like a fragment or a glimmer of a memory. And so yeah, that's why I'm really excited to hear what you guys think about tulpas. Tulpas, they're an interesting topic, to say the least. It gets weirder though, because some people, and this is probably inspired by Creepypasta's short story, I guess you could say, short audio clip about tulpas, where he explains about what happens when you take it too far. But there are people who report having a tulpa, right, an imaginary entity in your brain, and developing it into a relationship with a tulpa like a friend. But they also report that the longer they go on experiencing the tulpa or interacting with the tulpa as if it was something else, it developed its own free will, and some of them can get quite nasty. They can get malicious or even malevolent. And so it's a very subjective, interesting, complicated topic to discuss, really, because like, how do you know if that actually happens to people, or if it's just what they expect to happen, or maybe it's just their interpretation of what's happening, whereas if somebody else had the same experience, they might not interpret it as a nasty way. They might just think, well, it's just my own thoughts, it's all me. Whereas some people might think, actually, no, it's not me, I'm not in control of this entity, this tulpa, and it's actually having its own free will and even guiding me to do things that are bad. Some people report that their tulpas actually guide them and encourage them to do things that they would otherwise not have done. Yeah, that's kind of scary. That's kind of a difficult boundary to cross in terms of mental health. It's hard to say where the experience of interacting with your subconscious mind, if that is possible while you're awake, it's hard to say where that experience crosses over into actually a mental health problem where you're entertaining, voices in your head. And that's why I really didn't want to make like an instructional video on this or anything like that, because personally I've never done it, so I don't really know what I'm talking about, and also I don't want to encourage people to do this if there is a possibility of it being dangerous in that respect. But at the same time, I thought that this would be an interesting video to make. In a nutshell, I just want to hear your experiences with this in the comment section. That's what this mainly is about. I really want to hear what you guys have experienced with this. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll read out some of the top comments in the next video. That's it for today, guys. Go and leave a like. Definitely leave a comment if you have experienced anything like this. I really am interested to hear what you think. And also just leave a comment letting me know what you think. Even if you haven't done this, if you've never heard of this thing, what do you think the implications of this are? Like, is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. Leave a comment. Thanks for watching, guys. This video and this channel was supported by my Patreon followers. Please consider giving just $1 a month to support this channel, or just click the links in the description. You'll find links to various lucid dreaming products, articles, techniques, and tutorials. If you did enjoy this video, please click the notification bell and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Why are you still watching this? You should have clicked one of my related videos by now, right? Or subscribed, or gone onto my website or something like that.